Good day, everyone. Good day, sir. This is the Group 6, and our topic is environmental crisis and sustainable development.
The world's leading environmental problems. The Conserve Energy Future website lists the following environmental challenges that the world faces today. 1. The depredation caused by industrial and transportation toxins and plastic in the ground, the defiling of the sea, rivers, and waterbeds by oil spills and acid rain, the dumping of urban waste. 2. Changes in global weather patterns like flash floods, extreme snowstorms, and the spread of deserts, and the surge in ocean and land temperatures leading to a rise in sea levels as the polar ice caps melt because of the weather, plus the flooding of many lowland areas across the world. 3. Overpopulation. 4. The exhaustion of the world's natural non renewable resources, from oil reserves to minerals to potable waters. A waste disposal catastrophe due to the excessive amount of waste, from plastic to the food packages to electronic waste, unloaded by communities in landfills, as well as on the ocean and the dumping of nuclear waste. The destruction of million-year-old ecosystem and the loss of biodiversity, like the destruction of coral reefs and massive deforestation that have led to the extinction of particular species and the decline in the number of others. Number 7, the reduction of oxygen and the increase in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere because of deforestation, resulting in the rise in ocean acidity by as much as 150% in the last 250 years.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, classmates. This is Rami Arguanon, and I'll be discussing the world's leading environmental problems from 8 to 13. Number 8 is the depletion of the ozone layer, protecting the planets from the sun's deadly ultraviolet rays due to the chlorofluorocarbons in the atmosphere. When you say chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, it destroys the Earth's protective ozone layer, and it also warms the lower atmosphere of the Earth, changing the global climate. Number 9 is deadly acid rain as a result of fossil fuel combustion, toxic chemicals from erupting volcanoes, and the massive rotting vegetables piling up garbage dumps or left on the streets. Specific examples are coal burning power plants, factories, and automobiles, which cause deadly acid rain. And in the last 2020, when Taal volcano was erupted, it causes acid rain within that area, causing damages and harmful effects to the people living there. Number 10, the pollution arising from the industrial and community waste residues seeping into the underground water tables, rivers, and seas. The main cause of this is the industrial companies, like their waste damages our sensitive marine ecosystems, and also the rivers that their waste also provides toxic to our daily water consumption. And number 11, urban sprawls that continue to expand as the city turns into a megalopolis, destroying farmlands, increasing traffic gridlock, and making smog cloud a permanent urban fixture. So that's why planning is very important to provide the right balance of land uses, and this needs to be accomplished with citizens' participation and cooperation and public education among all. And that being said, the one essential but almost everywhere ignored is the most efficient and equitable approaches to raising revenue to the pay for the public goods and services. And number 12 is pandemics and other threats to public health arising from waste mixing with drinking water, polluted environments that become breeding grounds for mosquitoes and diseases carrying rodents and pollution. This teaches us the severity of diseases, viruses, and parasites but also the fact that viruses like COVID-19 travel exponentially faster with our technological advancement, meaning that we need to be more prepared when it comes to pandemics or dealing with diseases. And number 13 is the radical alteration in food systems because of genetic modifications in food production. Genetically modified food are genetically by adding genes from the organism. And the problem with this is there are health risks of genetically modified foods. So they might contribute to a rise in allergic reactions, or genetic food can prompt allergic reactions from different foods, and genetic modified food may contribute to antibiotic resistance, and some research has linked that genetic food modified food can cause cancer, and very few companies are in charge of all genetic modified food seed in the market. And that's all of my report. Thank you.
Good day, sir. My name is Maria Luisa Batayola, and my topic for our report is man-made pollution. So before I start, I must say that all the included man-made pollution in this list is heavily influenced by the economic growth, not only here in the Philippines but also in the whole world. These mainly pollutant that the human made, that the man made, are the pollutant that came from a big factories that supply the needs and wants of the people, which sadly in return it has a very negative impact to our environment, and unfortunately again those negative impact of um, in the environment goes back to us people. So first is the sunstorm in the Saudi Arabia is caused, it's more dangerous and it's worsened by the industrial traffic waste. The soil in the China is contaminated by heavy metals, so it is very dangerous because China is a very big exporter of rice. Therefore, their rice has this pollutant of heavy metals that can be very toxic once consumed by a person. Worsening air pollution in India, not only in India but in the whole world. The air quality has gone down over the years due to greenhouse gases released by cars, burning plastics, and all those big industrial factories. Then next is 94% of Nigeria's population is exposed to air pollution, and also the most polluted city in the world is Gaborone, the city of Botswana. Greenhouse gases in the city are expected to quadruple by 2030. Next is, so all of this man-made pollution can be prevented if we do something now to change our ways to create our products. However, these big companies don't do anything to lessen their environmental footprint, and also they don't do anything to manage their toxic waste. That's why we experience all this negative impact in our environment. So that's my report, sir. Thank you.
Catching up. These massive environmental problems are difficult to resolve due to the government beliefs for their country to be developed and progress. They must be innovated, industrialized, advanced, and maintained by people who are from the middle class group that is favored to obtain such amenities. The people that are mostly favorable are those who can contribute a lot to the development of the country's needs. The paragon of this ideal modern society is the United States, a world economic powerhouse whose middle class was the envy of the world. 60% of 210 carbon emissions come from cars and other vehicles on American highways and roads, with the rest coming from the smoke, decomposition of soot from coal plants, forest fires, methane emitted from farms, organic matter, paints, aerosols, and dust. These factors that are considered solutions to the energy crisis leads up to all the destruction of our environment through climate change, pollution, and many more. However, these ecological effects are far from the idea of countries like China, India, and Indonesia. These countries are currently in the midst of a crazy bid to achieve and sustain economic growth to catch up with the West. These countries want to improve the standard of living of their citizens and choose economic growth and cheap energy goals. These countries first have a national treasury that can invest in industrialization using natural resources such as coal, forests, agricultural products, and minerals. They are willing to make a change that can help our environment and reduce pollution through effective means of using the available natural resources. So this matter proposes the question, how is environmental sustainability ensured while simultaneously addressing the development needs of the poor countries?
Hi, my name is Michelle Mediana and I will report the climate change. Governments have their own environmental issues to address, but because of global warming, which crosses international borders, this state's ecological concerns become global. The atmosphere's buildup of billions of tons of carbon dioxide from vehicles and coal burning power plants. Other air pollutants and other gases is what cause the global warming. The Earth's surface warms as a result of this contaminants trapping the sun's radiation with the level of carbon dioxide currently present. The greenhouse effect has increased global warming more quickly than other gases. In addition to that, to frequent heat waves and protracted droughts, the greenhouse effect also causes higher rainfall and destructive hurricanes and typhoons in other regions. Some global warming affected the climate in India and Southeast Asia. This sporadic flooding brought on by the summer monsoon patterns had a significant impact on the both food consumption and production as well as the infrastructure networks. Category 4 typhoons, such as when Super Typhoon Haiyan struck the central Philippines in 2013, its intensity is some part of the Southeast Asian basin had doubled or even tripled. The greatest risk currently facing humanity is caused by a human-caused climate change, which poses a hazard to the entire planet.
Combating global warming. In 1997, 192 countries signed the Kyoto Protocol to reduce greenhouse gases following the 1992 United Nations Earth Summit, where a framework convention for climate change was finalized. The 2010 World Bank report thus concluded that the protocol only had a slight impact on reducing global emissions, in part because of the non-binding nature of agreement. December of 2015. A follow-up treaty to the Kyoto Protocol is the Paris Accord, negotiated by 195 countries. In South Africa, communities engage in environmental activism to pressure industries to reduce emissions and to lobby parliament for the passage of pro-environment laws. Across the Atlantic, in Salvador, local officials and grassroots organizations from 1,000 communities push for crop diversification, a reduction of industrial sugarcane production, the protection of endangered sea species from the devastating effects of commercial fishing, the preservation of lowlands being eroded by deforestation up in rivers and inconsistent release of water by a nearby dam. The University of Chicago's Energy Policy Institute sent teams to India to work with government offices, businesses, and communities in coming up with viable ground-level projects that strike a balance between urgently needed economic growth and improved air quality. In Japan, the population pressure forced the government to work with society groups, academia, and political parties to get the parliament to pass a blizzard of laws, 14 passed at once in what became known as the Pollution Diet in 1970.
So for the conclusion of our report, perhaps new issues forces on people to think about their role as citizens of the world than environmental degradation. So in this vulnerable world, everyone is responsible of taking care of our environment, yet in this fight of climate change, no one can afford to simply take care of his or her own backyard. So we should find a global solutions to this global problem. Addressing climate change will require many solutions. There is no magic bullet in it, yet nearly all of these solutions exist today, and many of them hinge on humans changing the way we behave, shifting the way we make and consume energy. The required changes span technologies, behaviors, and policies that encourage less waste and smarter use of resources. For example, improvements to energy efficiency and vehicle fuel economy, increase in wind and solar power, biofuels from organic waste, setting a price on carbon, and protecting forests are all potent ways to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide and other gases trapping heat in the planet. So that's all for our report. Thank you.